So, funny story. I actually just recorded this and pushed the wrong button. So, I'll do it again. Yeah, so good. I hope everybody had a good week and wanted to go over a few things about the hunt to just kind of familiarize people that may not necessarily know what's going on. First of all, this is a hunt based around a domain name called Trezor.quest, and that's Trezor.quest. It is a game that has an ultimate end gift of a trove. It's a geode. It's been made public now. Someone figured out the rock riddle, and that has stored within it um, um, treasure and some other jump drives that have 15,000 different cryptocurrencies on there, and none of those currencies are meme coins, by the way. So you can look for said prize in one of four states, or better said gift, in one of four states: Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas. Okay, and it'll be between the 35th and the 30th parallel. So that's public knowledge now. Um, Along the way, the game will evolve, and the website itself will evolve as this is a game, and there will be levels and stages within levels, and along with those levels are what I'm calling bosses, but really they're side quests that kind of are integrated into the site and into the game that aren't necessarily related to the solve for the trove, but they are gifts that you can be given if you beat the side quest. Okay, and I have designed this hunt to end in 15 years by making a Shamiri's secret sharing setup, which is a 5x5. And basically, it means you got to have, by proof of five, you got to have all five coins, or not coins, keys. And those keys are going to be released in first one in 5 years, the second one in 4 years, after the 5 years, so 9 years, and then 3 years, so that's 12 years, and then 2 years, so that's 14 years, and then 1 year, that's 15 years. So it's designed, those keys are designed basically to come along as a proof of trust because they're actually hidden with the trove. So that, you can know in your mind and in your heart, it was there the entire time, okay? We've already gone through the first level. The first level was really kind of designed to be about a month long. They ended up beating in about 2 weeks, which is cool. I think it's really cool. We ended up having 3 winners of gifts. And that was Behold, he beat the Dungeon Coil fair and square. And then we had Jay Lumbar 1, who uses Self-Made Game Genie to beat Space Hodl. And then because of that, I'll get into this a little later in this video. I thought, okay, well, I want to make it fair and square for those who may not necessarily know how to do that. So anyone who recorded their gameplay and actually won the game fair and square, and I lowered the amount of geo coins that you had to collect in the Space Hodl down to 3250. And then so Dirt Margaret sent me about 6-hour video of his gameplay and him achieving that game and then completing it, without any cheat codes. So he also won a gift. Level 2 has started, and I, from what I can tell, seems like people are having fun. I will give you a couple of stats that I found really interesting. I've had over 40,000 unique site visitors to the site, which I thought was really cool. Most of those are coming from the United States. Some are coming from, Germany, because treasure is a German word, which is fine. It's whatever. But as the site continues to go on, I'm seeing that number go down and down and down. We're getting some from the UK, but most are coming from the United States. So what that tells me, because I haven't done just a ton of publicity on this, and I kind of didn't really want to. I really don't want to do. I want it to grow organically like Forests did. and try to grow organically in a positive way, not necessarily go, hey, I gotta go have some, Netflix series, or I gotta go have some major publisher publish a book for me or whatever, or I gotta do this to make money, because this is not a this is a hobby hunt. It's not designed for me to monetize. It's literally designed as a form of philanthropy in a way, even though I can't write it down in the tax code as philanthropy. That's kind of what I see it as, right? Um, but yeah, so I thought it was really cool. So that kind of told me a few things. One, people are siloing Discord like all get out, I think. Two, definitely getting some traction from YouTube, which is cool. I mean, it's definitely neat to be able to communicate this way with folks, and take their questions and try to be as honest and upfront as I can, right? So to make it fair game, okay, with everyone involved. And so yeah, without further ado, we'll get right into the questions. So Cal Lasers asks, how many eggs on the website have been found? So level one, most every Easter egg, if you will, was found. No one really ever mentioned the one that was in plain sight, which was the first two lines of the riddle, "Worry an ode to forest," as it is now. So, and that no one ever made that public, but I'm saying it out loud now. How many more are there to find? So yeah, level one's over. So we moved on to level two. Um, are we supposed to start somehow as the website shows? So the start was, just sort of a part of the game. You could have pressed enter. You could have typed in start, and you would have gotten, a road sign that says start ahead, and it was over, the button that you got to click in order to enter the site. So, Car Tar L. Regarding Shimiri, what implementation is used? Some vary. Do you have a link to the one used? No link to the one used. It's a secret sharing by a power of 5, meaning that you're going to need all 5 keys in order to decrypt what it's hiding, right? But like I've said in the past, I do think computing power is going to get faster and faster and faster and faster, and I don't think it's going to take all 15 years. I mean, it might only take 9 years. It might only take 5 years, to be honest with you, because you could brute force the first key, to decrypt the whole thing. Okay. And then was asked what is the format prefix linked. I mean, again, when those keys release, you'll see that. Okay. Most crypto puzzles provide wallet addresses as proof of trust that the funds exist. What will you be doing that? No. Again, what is there is between me and the finder. Okay. This isn't just, this is for not only for their safety, but also for my safety, and also the safety of what is in the trove. Again, we are moving into an area where there's a reason why I have my stuff in cold wallets, right? I don't want people to know my addresses. I think it's foolish for people to ever share their address. That's my opinion, because I think computing power is getting to a place that we need to be very aware of. AI is getting to a place that we need to be very, very aware of. And this is one thing, if you get to know me a little more, you'll find my frustration with the people who actually control, whether or what to do with the Bitcoin networks, right? Because right now it's super susceptible. It's becoming super susceptible to AI, doing a 51% attack on it. And they have not made a decision to move forward to give it quantum computing and AI protections, which really upsets me. I wish they would do that, and they need to be doing it right now. I mean, they are not doing it. They need to do it now. So the proof of trust that you will have with this document, though, with this trove, is that those keys, all 5 of them, are with the trove. So when you go find that trove, you'll be able to have all 5 keys, and you'll be able to verify as the keys that came out, they match, right? So that way Okay, yeah, it was always here. It's not like us in the force fin world where, like, oh man, was it really there? Was it not there? Da, da, da. Like, no, if you find it, you're going to know it was always there, and the proof is in the pudding. Okay? Waldorf. And I want to be real clear, Tarl. I'm not fired up with you, really. I'm fired up with, like, just some of the things that happened in with regard to Bitcoin, especially. Um, so don't. I had a little frustration there, so don't think that it was like directed at you. It's just sort of this underlying world that we're going into. Waldorf. Is it too late to play Snake for fun? What is the URL? I know someone already won the gift. Yeah, so I'm going to take all those games and I'm going to put them on a separate domain because I'm trying to make games that people find fun and they want to play, and we're in this together type thing for the long haul. So while the games themselves aren't necessarily a part of finding the main trove, they definitely are like a part of who I am, right? And so, the better you understand me, I think is, kind of the same thread amongst everybody, right? From Forrest, to myself. Um, then yeah. But that URL will come live. Sorry, a little neck pop, huh? Again, I've already done this. I pushed the wrong button and didn't save the recording. Um, so yeah, going back to the question, that domain will come alive whenever SideQuest 1 activates on level 2.1. Okay, man. If standing exactly where the rock is facing, water straight ahead, what direction would I be facing? Again, I'm going to read that for everyone. Again, if standing exactly where the rock is facing, water straight ahead, so he didn't put a comma there. He was saying facing water straight ahead. What direction would I be facing? So it's round, and so I don't really know how to answer that because it doesn't have a northeast, west, south with it. It's a round object. So maybe come with a different format next time, and I'll answer it. Try to answer it. I don't really know how to answer because again, it's a round object. He also asked, is the rows of ends and the quiet end at the exact same place? The rows of ends do mark a quiet end, meaning like they might not be quote unquote the exact same place, okay? But they are relative to one another. Okay, driving down the road to the rows of ends with that mark a quiet end, what direction am I driving? So, again, I don't know which direction you're coming from, right? I don't know if you're coming from the northwest or you're coming from the south, the southeast. So, I don't really know how to answer that question, but I will tell you that getting to the trove, you could pretty much drive. You will, depending on what direction you come from, you're going to drive sometimes north, sometimes west, sometimes south, sometimes east. And even in the journey, no matter which direction you come from. So, I mean, those are good, like, almost got you. I mean, I like those questions because he's trying to figure out, what a part of his solve. So I like that. So I'm trying to answer them directly because I mean, I'm not trying to answer them by restating the poem. But there are some times where I just can't necessarily like. I don't want to. I don't like doing that whole punt thing. I do want to give you something for your question, and within those answers I just gave you, there's something there. I promise. Art says, "What is your or Art ask? What is your favorite force fin theory? DB Cooper, CIA, the jars, or one of your favorites?" All right, so one of the things I did, with this whole thing was like I really got into the hunt with the force fin hunt, siloing it. I watched AGK and cows, and then of course Ben. And man, dude, that guy is a character. I really like him. I've never met. I've actually never met any of these people in real life. Because again, whenever the quote unquote heyday was going on, I was trying to build my career. So, but uh, man, I really enjoyed some of Ben's raising. Like he cracks me up, bro. It just cracks me up. But unlike Ben, I do not believe DB Cooper was force fed. Now, I don't. I mean, I will say that he's put some pretty interesting stuff out there. They put some pretty interesting stuff out there. I think it's cool. Then you ask at the CIA. I mean, I know a lot of Air Force guys go in to work for the CIA as a civilian after, being in the military, especially with the Air Force for some reason, as civilian contractors. I know that Forrest had a lot of like famous people in his orbit who came to his gallery. I think the Central Intelligence Agency's job is to collect data and information on people. And if they use Forrest, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, my Uncle W, for example, is pretty far up in the CIA, and while I'm not a big proponent of the military industrial complex, I do appreciate some of the things that, they do to protect us, here stateside. So, if they use Forrest, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. They use a lot of normal people, actually, as, civilian contractors, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit. The jars. Now, I think Forrest's jars that he hid out there were really Forrest's way because, he was sort of a self made archaeologist, right? It was his way to like fill in gaps for whoever finds the olive jars in the future. I don't think they were ever designed for us to find. They were, I think, strategically placed by Forrest in areas that he believed in the future people would come do archaeology on, right? And that future would be a long, long, long time from now, much like what he did, overseas and then here stateside, whenever he would have his own, go do his own discovering. Um, because in his mind, this is just me thinking, in his mind, there's always these big gaps, so like, take Egypt, for example. I mean, there's a ton of gaps that we just don't know about with the Egyptians, right? In the same way with some of these Indian tribes, that he was going out and exploring with, right? Huge gaps. So I think Forrest put together something that, like, basically, you know, taught you the English language somehow, taught our numerical system somehow. Like, I think and then maybe told his own story a little bit, right? Um, so I think he did that to fill in any future generations who may be like, oh, okay, what was this civilization that lived from basically 18? Well, really, I mean, when did they really go west? So maybe like 1700s to like modern day, right? So I think his idea was that he was going to fill in those gaps, and or one of your favorites. Yeah, I mean, my only theory, my own personal theory with regard to the fin hunt, and this goes back to Mr. Carr Tar L, with regard to knowing that the trove was there and where it was at. Um, he, I just don't believe the whole 2020 story. My personal belief was Jack found it. Forrest knew that it had been found. Um, maybe, or maybe Jack found it and didn't tell Forrest, and he didn't know it's found. I don't really know which way to go with it, but I just don't believe the 2020 story. Okay, so that's my biggest theory. All right, so now then, this moves on to stern worm. Show me any documentation that I've already recorded this. Again, I messed up. So I don't want to be too condescending here, Mr. Sternworm, but I'll be as direct as I can with this. Show me any documentation to prove you own the name Trezor.quest before Justin. Do you have any proof to substantiate these claims. First off, I never claimed that I owned Trezor.quest before Justin or anyone else. As a matter of fact, I have publicly stated many times that I originally had Trezor.com as a domain or a URL, okay? And I have spent a significant amount of my time in 2025, my free time, over 90% of it, hunting for Justin's treasure. So I was like, as I was out there doing this, I already knew what was going to happen, right? So this isn't just something that's been like, happening right now. This has been a thing that's been happening for a minute, right? It may not have been public, but it's happening in my mind as the creator for a long time, right? And so whenever that came about, I was like, as I was hunting for, Justin Stroh, somewhere in like May, maybe April, May, it like really kind of clicked. Like, man, that TDL is pretty cool. And TDL is the ending, like .com, .org, .net, The .quest is pretty cool. And is a little ode to him. Again, I'm doing what I'm doing to help the search community, to help encourage more treasure hunting, to help give back to people. I think that it's a mistake for us, anybody, to man worship or put one person on a pedestal over another person, because even if you're not a treasure hunter or a treasure, hunt creator or anything, you have significant value. And to me, there's only one person to be in the camp of, and that's my Savior, and that's the person I quote unquote want people to feel and to potentially see, whenever they, chopping it up with me. But, and I'm not a perfect person by any means. However, I think this is a mistake that people are doing, as we've sort of evolved beyond forest, is sort of doing this, homering, where like, oh, that's my guy, type thing. And I sort of feel like in your question that you're sort of this, super Justin fan. That's cool, totally fine. You can do you, bro. But I also like the guy, and I thought that was a cool TDL, so I went ahead and used .quest instead of Trezor. Trezor.quest worked out really well. Actually, I didn't even realize that I could use that ending until Justin came up with his URL. And as a matter of fact, I believe that it will help more people find his hunt just by osmosis. If they come in to play my game, I will say that our hunts are very different. His is static. You might get a clue dripped here, there, and everywhere, depending on who you are. Whereas mine is a game, and we're playing a game, and we're going to end up, someone finding the quote unquote final, gift. But the game, the hunt itself is a game, and we will be playing lots of games with inside the game, because that to me is what I wanted, and I've been working and building and trying to make happen for a while now. So yeah, but I mean, I get it. Like, if you're big into that guy, that's cool. I mean, I encourage every single person to go look for every single treasure that's out there that they can. Okay? To me, I want the community to grow. That's why I'm continuing and will continue to do things to help, the people that are actively out there trying to promote the treasure. If AGK was still around, I would still be trying to help them. Jenny with Mystery Writings is still around. I want to, be involved with her, help her. Cows, and the Sidekick, help them. Emma and Jam, help them. Even, chop it up about Ben once in a while, because, the dude is funny AF, bro, right? So I just don't think that we should, necessarily man worship. So there's a long form answer to your question. And again, publicly stated probably 17 times now that it's an ode. The .quest, the Trezor.quest is actually an ode to Justin. Like, meaning like, hey, hats off to you, bud. Okay? Robo, can we have actual written rules? Guessing about things and rules changing is messy regarding the video games. Okay, so Robot. So the rule was there with the game, right? It was a simple game and it was there, right? I mean, you had to record your gameplay of getting to like the first game, 280 dots. Um, and this meant video recording, right? Um, I mean, if you want me to say video recording, then I'll add that from going forward. Versus, someone brought up that yeah, you could write it down. Um, so that definitely is a record. However, with the next game, that popped up, Space Hodl. The rule was there. Record yourself. And one fella, made his own little game genie and did it. Initiated a game. You know, and use this cheat code to do it. And so then in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, I want to make it fair. So instead of just doing one gift, I went ahead and did two, right, for the level. Um, and required in the rules. If you go back and look between the two different screens, the rules are there and they're different. And there was there was a specific thing in there that said no cheating, no cheat codes, pure gameplay, right? Pure gameplay. So those were simple games, and so I will take what you're saying here into future consideration, just so that absolutely you can feel that everybody has a level playing field, because that's really important to me. That's why I'm trying to do these answering questions format and taking time out of the week to do it, so that people can feel like they're not just quote unquote left in the dark. I try to stay engaged on Discord. I try to stay engaged with direct messaging. It doesn't take me, more than 10 or 15 seconds typically to answer somebody when they direct message me, and I try to be very fair with that with everyone. Some people are more engaged than others. That's just by human nature. However, if there are questions asked, I'm going to try to make those public, like especially, I mean, not like personal questions, but like if there are questions, regarding, the hunt, I'm not hiding away to a secret group of people per se. Now, I will tell you, there are some times that I hop on at nighttime onto the Discord, the allocated voice channel for Trezor.quest, and chop it up with people. You're more than welcome to come in there, chop it up with us, and I answer questions in there as well. I'm trying to have those recorded so I can answer them in these weekly updates. Again, to be very fair across the board. Robo says, does the Game Genie win open the next level, or do we wait on someone to win without that? So, if we have the game, I basically have already decided, like, if it has code that can be exploited like that, in future levels, the coding will not be as exploitable. But the way that you have to design these first two, really even three, the third one's going to be a little tougher. But it definitely has exploits within the code that a person could Game Genie their way in. And if people don't know what Game Genie was like this cartridge added that you could buy for your games. And you take the square cartridge, that was the game, and inside that has the code, and it has a little RAM built in. It's like its own sort of, little, anyways. So the cartridge had all its own code, and then you plugged it into the machine, and the machine read the code. Well, what you would do is you would attach the Game Genie to the cartridge. So the cartridge was passing through the Game Genie so that, whenever you loaded the game, really the Game Genie had kind of taken over the code, but it didn't change anything on the cartridge. So that's how they got away with it, right? So that's really what, Jay Lombard 1 did. He went into the code, he found an exploit, and he exploited it, and it's totally fine. It didn't change the code. The code didn't change on the actual page. He just put himself in front of the cartridge to win the game. But I wanted it to be fair across all skill levels, so I just went ahead and made another gift to be given. And any game that has an exploit like that, if it gets exploited, then I'll do that. I absolutely will do it. I will make it fair across the entire playing field, right? Um, would a leaderboard or a page with names of people who beat challenges be possible? Absolutely. I really want to do this. Again, whenever SideQuest 1 comes out, there will be a domain that pops open. And so to go back to Mr. Sternworms, I just bought the domain like a few weeks ago. So to go along with this actual quest. Uh, but yeah, so I'm gonna try to like have level like put the games within their level, and then you can click on the level, and then it takes you to like almost like a arcade console where you can pick which game you want to play. So yeah, I'm actually working on that right now, to be honest with you. And then, all right, yeah. And so, with the regard to their name, um, some people don't want to be public, and that's absolutely cool. Um, I will ask them if they want like a three initial, because I think three initials is cool. I've always thought that was cool. Winner one, game is, dot, 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 whatever initials they want. If they want to be anonymous, then I'm just going to, put A or something, AYA, or I don't know, AYN. I'll think about it. But absolutely, I kind of want to do it too. So, good thought. Island Hopper. In the location riddle, are you trying to trick us with Pat Mays and Paris as red herrings? I will tell you, Pat Mays and Paris are a part of the soul. Absolutely a part of the soul. Can the hunt be narrowed down to one state or exclude a state, please? No. And no, just no, because it's already pretty narrow, right? And it's already a lot there. I'm really just like I feel like yes, it is going to be harder to find. Um, but you're not. We don't have this huge swath like what Justin said, the West, or Forrest said, all these Rocky Mountains. I mean, geez, Louise, bro. Like we wonder why people got hurt, in that hunt. It was in a dangerous place. I love the guy. I mean, hold it in high regard, but it just got so big, and people, made poor decisions. And I'm begging you, don't make poor decisions with any hunt. Nobody, nobody is trying to put you in danger, right? Forrest said it 100 times. Don't go somewhere an 80-year-old man can't go. Now, if you're to believe the 9 Mile Hole riddle, you got to cross the Madison at least once or twice. Yeah, at least twice. I've crossed that sucker a bunch this year. Again, I'm hunting for Justin Stroh. I think it's there in Yellowstone. Going back to Mr. Sternworm, I one thing that's really important to me is that I think that it's fair for me to, as I have on my in my public life, to share all of my film footage, to share my solve, not just because like, oh hey, I want anybody to like think that I'm right, because I could be totally wrong. But I think that the more that we share, the more likely, a number one, the community grows, and then B, number two, the trove gets found. So I encourage people to share. I encourage people, if they find things, to make them public. I will tell you, I've said this, that if you find something, you might not want to make it public, right? You might not want to. You might want to keep it to yourself and put it in your inventory bag, okay? But in the end, I'm trying to be as open and transparent, as philanthropic as possible, to help grow the community, because I found a lot of reward in watching them and, sort of sidelining and siloing for years now. And, I think it's a lot of fun. I encourage people to go out and hunt. I encourage people to go hunt. Listen, I've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. So back in Paris, you can go ask dozens and dozens of people, right? I would go hide rocks that had money in them, right? For kids to go find. This is something I've been doing for a long time. There's a reason why it's a rock. There's a reason why it is a rock, I'll say that, right? So, but no, I will never take a state off, because every single one of those states is important to me. and the Tro. And trust me, when I was having that inner dialogue in my mind about where it should be, there were every single state had lots of places that embodied the positive things of my life. Not a genius. For side quest, did someone figure out to type dungeon to activate the dungeon coil game? Does that mean we need to find the next word to activate the next game? So he's still on level 1 here, but he also asked when. Okay, no, I'm gonna answer that one first. For side quest, did someone figure out to type dungeon to activate the dungeon coil game? Does that mean we need to find the next word to activate the next game? So those games, they spawn, and so what will happen is with the first few levels, if you're wise enough and how to go into the code, I had a little fun with it, like obfuscated a little bit, but super easy. I mean, people just copy paste it, throw it in Chat GPT, and Chat's going to tell you everything about it, right? Including the secret game and the secret word. But that may not be the case with future levels, because they'll be written differently, and things will be served, and things will be stored server side, and that people won't have access to. So the person found the dungeon by inspecting the webpage, and I will say this, like I've said, Justin, for example, he's trying to bring awareness to the things that he cares about, land and, maybe AI trolls or whatever else in the future. Totally cool. I don't think there's any stopping AI personally. I think that's kind of that's a lost battle. But kudos to him for trying to battle it. But for me, I just think that it's important that people understand, the future that's coming at them, that is flying at them faster than 3i Atlas is coming through our inner solar system, okay? And that is that your life is going to revolve around cryptography very soon. And if in this game, through this game, if we can bring people along through that process and sort of integrate them into learning some of the things you sort of need to learn with that lifestyle, if you will, with what's coming, then yeah, that's sort of my own personal, hey, I hope people learn about this, right? And then he said, so when Chad said maybe there will only be a few of us at the end, what are the chances only those who win these games progress? So this is not a genius. So when I said that, what I meant was I have no clue who was going to be or who is going to be involved the entire time. Really, I think Forrest's hunt got bigger than he thought it was ever going to be. I know specifically with mine, having that many site visits in 2 weeks is pretty astounding to me. This is holy cow, I would never even imagine that be the thing, even with just the very little publicity we've done. But I don't know how many people are going to be at the end, right? Winning the games does not necessarily mean, the side quest do not necessarily mean that, you have to win them in order to find the trope, because they're totally separate in the regard of gifting, but they're not separate in the sense of okay, well, to move the level forward to get to another level, we need to solve these quests. And no level will ever have less than 2 side quests on them that I consider bosses. Level 2 level 2 has 4 quests. So looking forward to those. But no, you do not have to win those games to progress. And when I said maybe there will only be a few of us at the end, I just, right now I know there's at least 25 real active people who are trying to find this, right? The main trope. And it may just be us up until that time, and that's fine if that's what happens. But along the way, I want to impact, the treasure hunting community in a whole, more ways than just, on my quote unquote hunt. Again, I'm never going to discourage someone for, hunting Justins or JCBs or all these other really cool hunts that are out there, whether they be with, a local business or, someone who else has written a cool book that has a solve in it. I mean, there's a lot of really cool hunts out there that I'm not necessarily involved in, but I don't necessarily want anybody to not be. And I think that if I can bring someone in or bring people into the treasure hunting community, well, then they learn about those solves. So really, that old saying where, water, higher water raises all ships, right? So that's sort of my aims. I have no personal issue with, people, not wanting to be involved with my hunt. It doesn't matter. I mean, you might not like me at all. You might think, this guy's an idiot, but that's fine. I don't care. But I do know that there are people who are involved, and so therefore, it might just be a few of us at the end. But along the way, if I can impact the treasure hunting community, that's sort of what I want to do. I want to give away, money and prizes and, not prizes, gifts, to impact somebody's life, All right, Carter violin. I've already done this. Missed the stupid button. Carter violin are 280 and 19-2 numbers to look at together or separately. Okay, so this gives me a good segue to explain something about games. Most RPGs, I can't think of one that doesn't, has an inventory of some kind, right? The way that they present the inventory, the way that they present the inventory is different, and the way that you store the inventory is different. I will say that if there is ever anything that you personally see that is out of place, that doesn't necessarily make sense, or, seems out of line, or like, oh, hey, this is interesting, then I would say put that in your inventory bag because you may need it in the future. Okay? No RPG, there's lots of great RPGs where you find something in early levels that are very crucial that you didn't even know were going to be crucial until a later level. Okay? So anything that you stumble upon as a searcher, like the Slug 19-2, which has been made public, I would put that in your inventory bag. You may or may not need it in the future, but if you see anything that looks out of place, throw it in your bag, your inventory bag, okay? Before leaving area level 1, any remaining Easter eggs on the website, would they help future levels or remain solved? Alright, so we've already left level 1 at the recording of this message. Any Easter eggs on any remaining Easter eggs? There was one Easter egg that really nobody picked up on. First two lines of the first stanza there, that little riddle, were an ode to Forest. And I also replicated that in level 2 as well. Because I believe that Forest sort of ignited within several of us, this idea that, hey, we can take parts of ourselves and go put them out there for other people to find. And for me personally, it's pure. It's not monetized. You don't have, it's free for all who want to be engaged, and and clearly for meaning everything will be made public, right? It's not like, okay, well, you have to go buy something in order to get this solved. I mean, the whole like, oh, here's my poem, you could solve it with just a poem. Well, I mean, this game is not static, okay? So, and it wasn't designed to be static. Whereas, like, pretty much every hunt that's come before it has been a static hunt. And I want to encourage other people to make hunts. And, there are definitely other hunts that I say static just because, like, they're attached to a book a lot of times, or they're attached to, one riddle. And that's what I mean by static. but I want to encourage people to, to create more games. I want more games to be made. I think that in the ether right now that this is happening in people's minds like myself, right? So, and it's been going on. I really think Forrest kind of, helped really kick the can down the road. He's not the first. He wasn't the first one to do a personal hunt like that. But his was definitely interesting and fun. I found a lot of wisdom in his stories, and and that's a part of this too. Is like, you know, you're gonna learn. We all learn from one another, right? Or we're supposed to, And I hope people learn from my mistakes. I hope people learn from some of my triumphs along the way. And I want to be real clear. Like for me, that's what this is about as well. It's like a personal journey to try to help other people. Whether it be gifting or just connecting. So um, she carries on. Yeah, would they help future levels remain solved? So that sort of goes back to that original question you asked. If there's anything that seems out of place with you, throw it in your inventory bag, okay? When writing, when asking about when I write, when writing, I sit near water that moves beneath the leaves. What season was it? Okay, so in the original recording of this, I actually had a little long pause because I had to give it some thought. But since I've already done that, and I'm not going to recreate that long pause just because I'm re-recording. Um, so I would say there's a lot of different foliage around where this geode is, and it's not in a place where someone is necessarily collecting leaves. Okay, like you clean up your yard with leaves and stuff. Um, then she asked for you'll pass me by to cast for fins where dammed up silence hums within. Is hummed up silence the place you pass by or cast for fins, or is that the wrong question? Um, Good question. Again, I've already recorded this, so I'm giving this some thought. Um, the truth is you can go either way. You can go either way. Either way. Either way. That's the answer. Um, how far away is the rock from Pat Mays Lake? So I'm not going to answer that directly, but I'm telling you, Pat Mays Lake is a part of the song. Okay. Tyrone or Triion, DAO. Okay, I like that. Are Easter egg images clues needed, more development, or just breadcrumbs toward the first boss? Okay, so some Easter eggs are going to launch quest. I will tell you that in level 2, there won't be any quote unquote Easter eggs to launch the quest. They're going to just come live randomly, down in the footer, and then you'll be directed where you need to be directed. To access that quest, whichever one it may be, whether it be 1, 2, 3, or 4. But there are, but I will tell you that any Easter egg that generates a static picture on your screen, right? Those are actual clues to solving where the main trove is. He also asked, do the games and bosses like Dungeon Coil or Geode only matter for announced, he uses a different word, but we're using gifts, announced gifts, or could performance carry forward into future stages or cumulative challenges? I can tell this guy's extremely intelligent. No, they're independent. So every gift will be associated with those quests. Again, there will be real world games and there will be quest, better said, real world quest, and then there will also still be digital games that pop up, that are going to be side quests. But winning those don't necessarily, give you an upper edge toward the main trove. They're kind of separate, but it's designed so that we can go level to level to level, and they're treated sort of as bosses, and we're waiting on someone to beat. Now, listen, there's going to be some that take, probably months for someone to beat, right? And you know, that's always the risk with any hunt. So this kind of goes back to that one question about just a few of us at the end. I mean, so what I'm going to try to do, because that's going to be a thing, like within this hunt, there will be like this lapse of time, for people trying to beat, a side quest. But I will be doing other quote unquote funded hunts, and there's going to be one announced pretty soon that has nothing to do with Trezor.quest. Again, my whole purpose of doing this all was to help the community, to help the search community. And throughout the year, I will be working with other creators to, spawn off, some other, hunts to give away some more money to kind of keep people sort of involved and, continuing to stay engaged, even when a side quest might take 5, 6, 7 months. Again, people are people, so you don't know how fast they're going to beat them, right? You don't know how much information they're going to share with each other in order to make it happen. But I will say that like level 1, I kind of designed it. I thought it was going to take about a month to beat, and they ended up beating in 2 weeks, which is cool. I mean, I like that because it means people came together and they worked together to solve something, and that's what I want. I want people to work together. I don't like man worship. I don't like the separatist idea. I like being a community, being an organism, working together. So no, yeah. So that performance won't necessarily carry you forward with regard to your own personal thing. But whenever these side quests are beat, yes, we'll go to another level. Oh shoot, excuse me. We'll go to another level. Sneaky Caesy asks, what number leather-bound TTOKA book did you have? Did it come with a tarot card? If so, which one? Okay, so I'm not really involved in that hunt. I did buy a coin from Mike. I made my coin public on the Discord. If it's not there, then I'll re-upload it. Just let me know that it's not there. But that's not a hunt I'm really interested in. And again, I don't want to discourage anybody from being involved in any hunt, right? Please, I'm probably going to have to say that 1,000 times, but just know I'm trying to do this to bring more people into the community so that again, other hunts can have, they might, stumble into this because of, they found out about my hunt, and then all of a sudden they're seeing, other hunts that are out there and smaller creators that are involved, within the community. And so now, like there's, for instance, there are business owners who have these hunts that kind of come on, and they talk about their hunts and they talk about their businesses and stuff. And man, shoot, if you can get someone to be involved, even if we get one, even if we get two, if we get 1,000, who cares, right? If we're adding to the community and we're adding, to this idea of quote unquote treasure hunting, I encourage anybody who's building a hunt to build something that's safe, right? To make it safe, but at the same time, I want people to be engaged and come in, and I can't help but think that with 40,000 site visits, that someone didn't stumble upon more of the community. You know what I'm saying? Just via even YouTube. So yeah. So I'm not really into the TTOK thing. I did put in the coin that I bought from Mike live on their Discord. Okay. K-Pro asks, is it okay for new gamers to start easy levels, then hand off to someone else, or must one person do the whole quest? Listen, I really encourage families to be involved together. If you're a mom and you get into a game and you're like, oh man, yeah, I'm getting close, and I know my son has better game controls than I do. Yeah, like that's your family. Like you're going to win moolah, a gift, and that's going to help your family. And so if you're family and you work together to do it, kudos. Like, and if you're not family and you're just friends and you have, you're wanting to do the hunt together and or the whatever, yeah, listen, like, I mean, I want people to hunt. I want people to have fun. I want people to create community. And if you're doing something together and you're doing something as a collective, that to me is where we win as human beings. We have got to be bonded together with common goals. You know what I mean? And absolutely, man. I mean, in my other recording, I told the story about how, like, Elizabeth and I were sitting at the little laptop there, at our house in Sumner, um, and Jotham had a friend over, and like he always did, and we're like, oh yeah, that's it, yeah, that's the song. We figured it out, right? And so we took the boys with us. Like I called the one boy's mom, said, hey, I know he's never been on a plane. Is it cool if I swing by, get, whatever I need to get, and we're gonna hop on a jet and go over here to Colorado and go hunting. And she was totally cool with it. But like when we had the boys out there, had they actually found the trove, I mean, like had I found the trove or they found the trove, I mean, we would have shared it, right? You know what I mean? Like that to me is the point of doing these hunts is building bonds and community. Okay, so absolutely, hand off away, buddy. She also asks, are Easter eggs important to the rock's location, or just the extra little Easter eggs, not side quests? Okay, so or just the extra little. Um, Again, any static image that comes up on your screen that is keyed by an Easter egg or activated by an Easter egg um, is a clue to where the geode is placed. Okay. And then there will be some Easter eggs that actually spawn side quest. Again, in level 2, they won't be. There's no Easter eggs that spawn. There are no Easter eggs that spawn side quest in level 2. They will all spawn randomly in the footer, and you'll just have to wait for it to be highlighted. And then, yeah. So, Dirt, Margaret. Gosh, dang, man. English language is hard for me. Ask clarifying. Oh, and by the way, congratulations, buddy. I watched a lot of that film footage. Clarifying needing to record the game for 3+ hours. He was actually asking this during level 1, and I did answer it directly to him. And I mean, again, trying to answer his questions as publicly as possible. And he ended up sending me a file that was about 6 hours long. Film recording. Again, whenever there's a game that pops up for side quest, you need to video record it of your gameplay, your gameplay. Now there will be some games that will be able to be exploited. I know this. I have made the unilateral decision that with those games, somebody knows how to game genie it or beat the bots that are in it. Then get after it, and then we'll have the pure gameplay reward as well. So yeah. Anyways, Jam asks, is the rock underwater? No, the rock is not underwater. But hang on. Good. Man, that's actually, now that I really think about it, what is water, right? Water has a lot of different forms. But if you're asking if the rock underneath a body of water, no. Okay. Mike Hall, is it a Dugway geode? Mm, yeah, for those that don't know, like, geodes come from different areas of the country, different types of geodes. I'm just going to say it's a geode. I'll answer it that way, Mike. Sorry, kind of punting that one. But yeah, it is a geode, and it's about this big. Okay. Dukes of Hazard asked, over the last 2 years, you said 400,000 people passed by the rock. Is that on foot or driving? So it's by cycling, it's by foot, and it's by driving. And so that segues into something that I talked about inside of the Discord chat the other night. I told the story again. I do hop on to the Treasure Quest chat. Time to time, you're more than welcome to come in there and ask questions. And I am trying to be very transparent about this as we go. Um, I told the story in there about. Okay, so imagine me. And I mean, I'm telling you, when someone had already asked the question, "Do you need special shoes to get to where it's at?" No, you don't. But that was already a question that's already been asked. And I mean, I'm this guy. I'm this guy who's dressed like I'm dressed, right? Tattoos and stuff. And so I had this little bag. I had this little bag, and had the geode in there. And so I'm standing where I'm standing, and the cyclist, he comes by, and like you can tell when someone downshifts, right? They kind of like downshift, and then like he and I just kind of like lock eyes, and I'm like, "You see nothing, you know nothing, no, these are not the droids you're looking for." So that was just like a really weird like, cause I didn't want, I mean, I didn't really go super camouflaged, obviously, because I think, when you're dressed like yourself, you kind of just kind of whatever. But it was definitely like one of those weird moments where, like, man, if that guy was a treasure hunter, he would have. But, I mean, still there. So I don't guess he cared. But he probably thought, what in the world is this guy doing? Probably in his little mind. Who knows? It was a very awkward moment. So, um, anyway, so okay, now then, guest user 17. How much does the geode weigh? It weighs again. I've already recorded this, so I thought about it. It weighs about 7 or 8 pounds, I think, and I'm kind of using this whole milk jug analogy. I think it weighs about 7 or 8 pounds. Okay, the things that are inside of it are just grams, right? They're just pieces of plastic, really. Ultimately, a little bit of gold, a little bit of plastic. Anyways, Island Hopper. How close were the 400,000 people passing by the rock? Well, I just told the story. Me and a guy like, I at least I went like this with that guy, for the camera, you know. Um, so I'd say close, but also far away. It's a bit of a riddle there when I say that. Is Pat Mays Lake and campgrounds considered an area? Again, I mean, gosh darn, man, I wish I would have. I wish I would have hit the right button a while ago because again, I've already recorded this. And I'm trying to read these questions, uh, you know, like as if they're just now being asked to me. I'm trying not to even look at them. That's why I'm having cake, kind of aggregate them, because I don't. I want to have genuine responses to them, okay, and not have some pre-thought out, cookie cutter. Oh, I'm gonna put that, or like no, I want it to be very genuine, okay. But I would not say that the campgrounds that are around Pat Mays Lake are something that I consider an area because there's so many different campgrounds, right? What I mean by like area is like Yellowstone National Park to me is an area that you're gonna go find on a map, and it's gonna say Yellowstone National Park. And it's gonna be like green. You know what I mean? That to me is what I would consider like a designated area, right? I'm going to Sequoia National Park. I'm going to Yosemite National Park, or I'm going to some forest lands. You know what I'm saying? And that are marked. Okay. That's what I consider an area. Campground. We have lots of campgrounds around Pat Mays. I mean, Sanders Cove, some of the best sand bass fishing you'll ever do. Awesome. Uh, NYM777. Will the riddle give more clues as the hunt progresses? If so, how many times? I think what I'm seeing with this question is like, um, Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. So this is designed. The game is designed to have layers to it. Okay, and they'll build upon itself. And again, if you see something, even in the code or the UI that pops up where you see the screen, the stuff on the screen, um, you don't have to necessarily know how to code or anything in order to solve the main trope. I do encourage you to learn how to inspect websites. I mean, whatever device you're on. But and there will always be little Easter eggs inside of there. That again, I encourage you, if you find something that looks out of place, put it in your inventory bag, okay? Because you don't know when you're going to need it again. Um, but yeah, so the riddle itself will evolve. They will work together, and every riddle will have a primary clue in it that is definitely different than the riddle before it. Okay, man. Are Easter eggs or boss challenges clues to find a rock or evolve or only the evolving riddle? Any web page clues beyond the evolving riddle? so so like I said, any Easter egg that pops up a static image, that is a clue to the actual main trope. The ones for the bosses, those are designed just to give away stuff. You mean shoot, take that money, pay your rent with it. Take that gift and go hunt for somebody else's trove. You know what I mean? Like I just want people to be you know to grow within the community. I want the community to grow. Any web page clues beyond the evolving riddle? I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Okay, man, maybe ask me in a different way. And I don't understand that one, to be honest with you. So it's not really a punt. Just ask me to just maybe clarify that a little different because I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Dougie Doug says favorite video games? Question mark. So again, in the Discord chat the other night, Dougie Doug came in and man told us this really awesome story about him and his brother and how they were in the arcades and like battling out, if you will, quarter after quarter, and man, it was real. I really appreciate you sharing that story, Doug. Like that really, again, warmed my heart, and it couldn't. I don't know if you could tell at that time when you were telling us that story, but yeah, it really choked me up, bro. And I appreciate those. I appreciate that part. Like that's for me. That's what this is about, right? It's not just like okay, hey, you know, I like hearing other people's stories, and I like sharing and growing together with other humans. And when people tell stories like that, man, it just really, man, warms my heart, bro. Warms my heart. But yeah, so some of my favorite video games growing up, I loved obviously Super Mario Brothers. Zelda, I really got into the Super NES Zelda forms, and that part of the franchise. I haven't really played a lot of Zelda past that in that franchise, but I love 1943, Excite Bike, Metroid, Mega Man, all the Mega Mans. Oh my gosh, man! Any baseball game, and then as we evolved, I was the Super NES Mario franchise. I was really into, and Metroid, and like I said, the Zelda one, and that part, that area of the Zelda franchise, and then I got into computer gaming, and I played a ton of WoW. I mean, a ton of WoW, so much WoW, a lot of WoW. Played a little bit of League of Legends, not my favorite though. And then I got an Xbox and really got into Halo. Played a lot of Halo, lots and lots of Halo. Then Call of Duty came out, played a lot of Call of Duty. And really, that's sort of like kind of where I was at, along with some other computer games that I do. But yeah, so those are some of my favorite games that I've ever played. Treasure Gal. Which rock friend is more likely near the treasure? And she spells Trezor. Turquoise, rose rock, diamond, or blue topaz. I will say that none of those are near the treasure. and you're more likely to find, because again, I'd already recorded this and I thought about it, and you're more likely to find, a 3/4 inch base than that. Okay, than any one of those. Are there islands near the treasure? I don't really know what you mean by this question. Are there islands near the treasure? So maybe again, maybe ask it with a little more detail because I'm not really sure what you mean by island. Are there islands near the treasure? I don't know what you mean by that. Um, if I'm at the rocks location, can I still hear the hum sometimes? I had thought about this in that previous recording, and I'd say on. Still trying to figure out the best way to answer this, like and be direct. Like I'm like the one old guy was like, hey, I don't want you to answer my question with the basically repeating my question. So I'm trying to honor that with doing this. It's around Kansas sometimes. I'd say that if you were out there by yourself, which is not likely, um, on a quiet day, you could hear the hum. Johnny Law, are level 2 side quests activated over time or with keywords or some other method? So yeah, so I've kind of already answered this, but they will be activated on this level. They're going to be once they come live, they'll be highlighted on the actual footer there. So, and now I know there was a couple more questions over here in Discord that weren't registered. Let me see here. Come on over here, treasure quest and questions. Yeah, so Jay Lumbar 1 asked, do we have all the information we need to move from level 2.1 to level 2.2? So that next iteration of level 2 will just spawn. They're not necessarily going to be associated with an actual side quest. But I want people. I want to have time for it to soak. So it may not be a week. It might be a few weeks before the next one spawns. I can do that one kind of manually. The other side quests, like I said, they will they sort of are being managed by a randomizer. So and it has a 0 to 30 day clock on it. So it could drop tomorrow or it could drop 4 weeks from when that one went live. Um, but no. So the answer to that is no. But I do think that again, there's over almost 3,000 lines within the code that you might give consideration to looking to. And also, I mean, there are a ton of clues in that first stage of level 2, and the keen eye will pick up on them. So that gets me to another question that was asked privately, and that was about the is 1618 an aquifer, reference to an aquifer? No, it is not a reference to an aquifer. Okay. Excuse me. Um, So Island Hopper says, if I am the rock, can I see my reflection in the water that I am near? Yeah, I've thought about this one too, last recording as well. Like, God, I hate using that word. I'd say that's just one I just can't answer directly. Sorry. I'm trying my best to answer them all. I just can't answer that one directly. Sorry. And so then Treasure Guy asked, is the wheelchair, is the treasure wheelchair accessible? Yeah, and the last one, I got a little choked up on that one because, as somebody who, lives with a disability, I know that, there are a lot of things I'm limited to. There's some things I just can't even do anymore now just for, having to not risk losing my eyesight and my good eye. So it does suck that you can't make, the ultimate trove with someone who is in an actual wheelchair like you would see at a hospital. And there are some wheelchairs that are pretty awesome motorized wheelchairs that that potentially someone could use, right? But if you're asking about one that's from a hospital, you can't. And I wouldn't dare ask someone to do that, right? Yeah, that one's just but I will say, like, if you're in a wheelchair and you got some brains, I mean, there's going to be a lot of side quests, to get gifted with, and you could be a part of a team that helps solve the main riddle. So, physical location, I would not suggest trying to access it with a wheelchair. No. So yeah. So anyways, guys, I think that's all the questions. So if I missed one, please, or miss me or Cake miss one, please don't think that it's like some sort of punting or that we're not trying to answer a question. Um, Please feel free to direct message me or email me or whatever other form of communication you want to use, or put it in the question blocking. And if it's missed, it will get answered. I am trying to hold ourselves accountable to that. Again, I'm trying to be completely transparent. I'm not trying to play any favoritism. I don't like that. I think that a hunt should be, if you bring a cookie to class, the entire class should get a cookie. So that's my opinion, and that's how I'm going to run this thing. I understand that others may not do that, but that's not who I am. Okay. We learn from, Golden Greed, that Forrest was giving nudges to other people, and not necessarily the public. And to me, that's a mistake. So I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm going to try to be as transparent as I can be, um, and try to answer these questions with a degree of fairness that allows the playing field to always kind of be even. So just because I chop it up with somebody in Discord, or I'm DMing maybe Cake or somebody, like, I promise you, and they can verify that I'm not, that I am trying to be as upfront and honest as possible, because I don't want anybody to be like, like we were with the whole ending of Forrest's, hunt. So, and all the crazy stuff that kind of happened afterwards, right? I want it to be pretty transparent. I'm always going to respect the anonymity, I think that's the word I'm looking for, of people who, win these quests and or win the end up primary trove. If it's found and they want to be, whatever, I will release all 5 keys. I will, announce that it's been found. Um, I have I have some coming. I've given more thought about the rules. Going back to the one person, even just sitting here thinking on kind of brewing in my mind. I'm going to try to implement a couple more things, just to protect the integrity of the hunt and the quest, and everything that's involved. Excuse me, everything that's involved here. Again, we will be doing other quote unquote side quests throughout the way to support other content creators, other, hunt creators, because that's what I'm doing this for. I'm trying to bring people together, in a way that I think is unique to me, and hopefully everybody's having fun. I know at least 25 people are having fun, so it's been really awesome to meet a wide variety of people, for farmers to computer nerds like myself, to just ever good old boy, stories like Mr. Dougie Doug gave us. So, which, I mean, he sounds like a very accomplished person. I don't take anything from that. I'm just saying, like, the variety of people that I met has been pretty awesome. So, until next week, feel free to engage on Discord or email whatever is best with you. I do appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to moving forward with the hunt. And if you have any doubts whatsoever about my integrity, or the integrity of the people that are involved with the hunt, well, just don't be involved. I mean, that's the or my opinion. Even if you don't like my opinions, or you don't like me, you don't have to be involved. I will ask that you don't troll. You're not going to. I'm not going to allow your comments to be made public. Via my YouTube channel. If you harass me, like I've gotten a couple harassing emails, um, listen, I promise you, we have good lawyers, and you're not going to bully me. I've already learned how to deal with bullies. Okay, so I'm not trying to be mean-hearted there, but don't troll me. Don't troll people that are engaged with this hunt, because whatever degree of the law that I can use, I will use it. I will. I promise you. Okay. So don't be negative. This is not about being negative. Okay. We want to be positive, and we want to focus on the the things that are going to come out of this, right? So, and to me, that's bringing more people to the treasure hunting community, and growing some of these other content creators that have been around for a while, and then also helping to promote and encourage other people to find these other hunts that are out there, whether they be monetized hunts or hobby hunts. It doesn't matter to me. I want people out there. I want people having fun, and hopefully that comes across. So until next week, see you later.